Friends, it's that time of year. Every single one of these leaves is gold for your garden, and the best part about it is they're free. We're going to be talking about several ways you can use this free gold in your garden and around your homestead. So the very first way that we use them on our homestead is as a carbon source for our compost pile. Now, we've got all of our frozen vegetable and fruit scraps here from the kitchen. We're going to put them down in layers on top of our existing compost pile, and in the middle of each one of those layers, we're going to put a layer of leaves. What that does is layer the nitrogen sources, which is all of this fruit and vegetable matter, with the carbon sources, which the leaves are a perfect source of. And we won't get into composting in this video, but you need to do that layering of carbon and nitrogen so they work together to form some great compost. So I'm going to dump this on here. So on top of that fresh nitrogen source, all of those veggie scraps and fruit scraps, we're going to add this carbon source, which is our leaves from last year that have been breaking down in our compost pile over here. That's going to give balance to our compost pile and help it to break down properly. Now let's go check out our leaf compost pile, which is separate for a reason. So this is our leaf composting pile, and it's strictly just for leaves because we like to make pure leaf mold compost. And pure leaf mold compost is super nutrient dense. Now there are a couple different ways to make leaf mold compost, and some of the best ways are to actually break it down and get more surface area on the leaves by shredding them. We use several methods to shred them. We use our lawnmower to suck up the leaves. We use a barrel with a weed whip to chop up the leaves. You can check out those videos up here. But actually, if you also just leave the leaves on the ground, the worms that come up from the ground underneath there will not only make great worm castings from eating those leaves, they will break down the leaves that much faster. And you can also check out that video at the top of the screen. So the nutrient dense nature of leaf mold compost is amazing. Not only does it have a lot of carbon in it, like we talked about earlier, it's low in nitrogen, but it has zinc, boron, calcium, manganese, iron, potassium, phosphorus, copper, and some chlorine. Everything that your garden beds need. And it's nature's source, so you know the balance is going to be correct. So here's two methods. Now let's talk about two more that you can do with freshly fallen leaves. Now another cool way to use leaves is for their insulation properties. If you pack leaves together, freshly fallen dead leaves, they're going to have a lot of air spaces, which is going to hold air and trap heat. So you can use them if you build a little cage around, say, you know, one of your little fig trees or another blueberry bush or whatever it is on your homestead. We're going to fill this up with leaves and insulate that plant that might be a little bit sensitive in the wintertime. Now this one is just for demonstration purposes, but of course, just make some sort of cage out of whatever wire you have, or we've got this plastic netting, and fill it up. Make sure you get it down around the bottom of your plant, because that's where your cold air is going to get in the worst. And we're just going to fill our cage up and leave it sit like that. It'll also break down over the winter time and add to the nutrients in the soil, but these leaves will insulate your delicate plants like this fig. So another way to utilize freshly fallen leaves is to use them as a mulch in your garden. Use it on your garden beds, and what that's going to do is it's going to help to retain moisture, and they are also going to break down and feed the soil. Additionally, if you have any winter veggies in the garden, it's going to help insulate them a bit. So I don't usually like to do this method because the wind takes them off the beds fairly easily. And in my opinion, it's a little bit of a waste of time. Also, you can lay sticks out on them or lay some wire out on them, but again, it's wasting time that could be dedicated to another job. And putting them in your leaf mold compost pile or your other compost pile is a better way to build your soil for the next year because they're already mostly broken down. They're going to hold to the soil better, and they're going to be more dense, heavy, and stay in place. Now we're going to be building something special to help to break down our compost even faster, and that's called a Johnson-Su bioreactor. And our leaves will be an integral part of the mixture that we put in that bioreactor. Stay tuned for that video because we're going to be constructing it very soon. Now let's talk about one big thing to avoid when collecting leaves. And that's picking up leaves from an area that could be contaminated, like the ditch along the side of the road. Now what's in this ditch right here could probably cover my whole garden, but I have to avoid the temptation and leave them alone because all of the runoff off that road is not going to be good for your garden. Don't forget to go below the video and check out our t-shirts. If you'd like to purchase one, it'll help out our family and we'd greatly appreciate it. They're super comfy too. So don't burn those leaves. Don't throw them away in plastic bags at the curb. They are very, very valuable and they can help build your soil into a rich, nutrient-dense soil that is great for all plants. Now go check out these videos right here. I know they will be beneficial to you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.